White will receive an extra $500 from coming from 15th or deeper, courtesy of Bart's Contracting down in Copay. So Bart DeRoche's money did get paid out, the $500 for the bonus if someone could come from 15th or deeper. Larry White has done it, and Larry will take that $500 back to Phoenix with him here tonight. The Hahn Welding Limited Sportsman going to be next up on the Speedway. We've got 33 Limited Sportsmen. They're going to go 20 laps. The Hahn Welding Limited Sportsman up on the raceway now as we're going to turn them loose. Starting up on the inside front row, it's going to be Brady Cordova with the number 4. Outside of him, the 216 of Phil Arnold. Back in row 2, Nick Ospelmeyer in the 26, Taylor Wasson with the 07W. Then we find the 116 of Ron DeLeese and Scott Bennett Jr. with the number 1. In row 4, it'll be Dakota Green with the 69 and Dan Sequin with the 8S. 5 rows deep, it'll be the 76A of Mike Arnold. Chris Bisson with the 435. Back in row 6, 44L, it's Justin Lilly, Tom D'Angelo's 23C. Row 7, the 98 of Craig Hooley and Alex Lane in the 751. Row 8, it's the 11C of Cody Cordova, and David Zelker in the 316. Row number 9, the 34 of Dylan Grogan and Gary English in the 53. Row 10, the number 1 of Frankie Twing, that's Kid Dynamite. Walter Cook at the 47 outside of him. Jim Van Zandt, the 313. Wade Acker with the 367. That's row 11. Row 12, the 711 of Chris Crane Jr. He was the winner a week ago. Wade Acker with the 367. Then we got Aston Pearson with the 24, the 96 of Anthony Mason. Anthony Maxon with the 96. Mike Perotti in the 30, the 76 of Mark Birch. John Sandlin in the 6, the 33 of Melvin Pearson. Wesley Sutliff in the 2004, the 92 of Tanner Kuhn, Nick Arnold, the 1A, and the 5 Vermont of Scott Fitzgerald. 2 laps are in the books. Brady Cordova showing the way down the back straightaway. Brady in control as they work their way down here through turn 3 and 4. Phil Arnold rides there in second. Nick Ospelmeyer back there in third spot as they work their way down here off of turn number 4. The 07 of Taylor Wasson rides in the 4th position. As they work up into turn number 3. Your leader, the 4 of Brady Cordova. With about a 6-car length advantage, working down the back straightaway over the 216 of Phil Arnold. Coming up, 5 laps now on the board. The 1/4 mark has been met. Ospelmeyer trying to draw in on the 216 of Phil Arnold. Got yellow. Yellow is out on the speedway.
Why are you still up? How are you rewatching this?
That's the number 4 of Brady Cordova. So your leader going around, Brady Cordova won his qualifier and starting up on the pole, got out to a pretty good lead there in the early going. Brady Cordova, your reason for the caution. Look on the DTD instant replay and just got out from under him. Up off of turn number 2, around she went. So Brady going to get pushed off. If he can get refired, he will rejoin at the tail, and the view will be much different when he resumes. Instead of having no one in front of them. They're all going to be in front of them. So the Cordova Plumbing and Heating number 4 car. The reason for the caution, he has refired and pulled away. Field back together, even rows at 2. Your new leader is going to be the 216 of Phil Arnold. Arnold going to set the pace, bring it to green off at turn number 4. Down at turn number 1 they go. Arnold going to lead the way up off at turn number 2, but here comes the 07 of Taylor Wasson. Wasson right there with Arnold side by side off at turn number 4. Wasson on the inside, Arnold on the outside as they make their way down here to turn number 1. Wasson going to try and take that top spot away from the 216 of Phil Arnold. Got one slow on the front. That's Brady Cordova again. And yellow is out. So yellow lights come on. Brady Cordova off the pace and could not clear the racing surface. Tried to get down to the inside. So Phil Arnold and Taylor Wasson up on the number 1 position. Nick Ospelmeyer there on the inside of row number 2. Ron DeLeese Jr. with the 116. Got a real good run going. Had a good run in his qualifier, earned him an up-front starting spot. He started 5th on the field. He is able to stay up there inside the top 5. He is advanced by 1. Currently rides there in 4th. As we're going to be ready to go back to green. Back to green we go, and down the back straightaway, the lead duo scooted out in front of the remainder of the field. Taylor Wasson now up on the outside, going to clear the 216 of Phil Arnold. Wasson, your new leader. Arnold back to 2nd. Got to go back a ways to find Ospelmeyer in 3rd. 4th spot, Ron DeLeese Jr. Now the race for 5th position. Coming down here off at turn number 4. Well, the yellow is out again for the number 4 of Brady Cordova. And that's caution number 3 for Brady. Brady will be sent pit side. That's the 3 strikes and you're out rule. So Brady being pushed back down here on the front straightaway. He'll be pushed back down to the pit area with the number 4 car. We're right at the halfway point. 10 are in, 10 remain. Going to hold under caution. We got another car that has not quite made his way into the pit area yet. So we have dispatched a wrecker up here to turn number 1. So we'll hold the field under caution here until we can clear the entrance to pit road down here in turn number 1.
Actually, be some kind of miniature star, one that exists here on Earth. According to some scientists, the notion is not as far-fetched as it sounds, which could also mean that ball lightning has the potential to develop into one of the most destructive forces in the known universe.
Some people suggest that ball lightning could be primordial black holes. Primordial black holes are very...
So it looks like Jim Van Zandt was the car that did not clear the entrance to the pits. Jim has been brought back down into the pit area, so that clears the racetrack. Going to be ready to go back to green as they make their way down off of turn number 4. Taylor Wasson with the 07. Leads the way down here into turn number 1. Phil Arnold there with the 216. Side by side back there for 3rd spot as they work their way up through the corner. Up on the outside, Ron DeLeese Jr. had nosed his way up into 3rd there for a moment. They make their way down here, working through the corner, the 435 of Chris Bizen right there with him. Now Mike Arnold working up on the outside of Nick Ospelmeyer. As they work their way up here through turn 3 and 4, Taylor Wasson starting to separate his way away from the 2nd place runner, the 216 of Phil Arnold. 3 wide back there, midway through the pack as last week's winner, Chris Crane Jr., the 711, advancing a couple of positions there. And Crane is on the charge. Got a couple of spots to go to get up inside the top 5, but he is within striking distance as Richie Peterson going to show the 5 to go sign this time by. So inside of 5 to go now, watching Mike Arnold work up on the outside of Craig Hooley. Arnold and Hooley going at it for position. Hooley on the inside with a 98. As they make their way down here in the final stages of this event. Going to come to 2 to go this time by. It'll be 2 laps remaining when they hit the stripe this time by. 2 to go for Taylor Wasson as he works up off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Be looking for White Silk when he comes off turn 4 this time. White is out. Taylor Wasson coming up, one slower car up ahead of him. That's Kid Dynamite, Frank Twing, the 3rd generation runner. As they work their way down here into turn number 3, Wasson going to tiptoe his way down to the inside. He'll be looking at checkers. Checkers are out. Taylor Wasson picks up the win. So Wasson gets the victory. Phil Arnold comes home in 2nd spot. Chris Bisson will come home 3rd. Ron DeLeese Jr. comes home in spot number 4. And Taylor Wasson nails down the Hahn Welding Limited Sportsman feature event. Craig Hooley rounded out your top 5. Mike Arnold, Chris Crane Jr., last week's winner, finished 7th. The 750